posted, and I just wanted to post this morning to talk about cancer as a teacher, because that's what was really coming up for me as I was sleeping last night, trying to sleep. Like any life experience, life is teaching us all the time, and cancer is teaching me so much about I don't even know. I just feel like I'm in a school right now. I feel like I actually signed up for this school at some point prior to coming into this life, and when cancer arrived, it was this internal knowing that it was like a shock and also an internal knowing at the same time that this is just like where I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to be dealing with and learning about and helping my husband navigate. And there was absolutely no question as to whether I should be anywhere else. And not that I really felt like I had an option to be anywhere else, but I just felt like I wanted to turn towards it and face it and embrace it and learn from it. And that's been my approach since June of 2022. It's amazing what a chronic and also terminal disease process can do to each member of a family. Each person goes through their own roller coaster experience. Each person has opportunities to resist and opportunities to grow. I feel like I've had whack-a-moles hitting me left and right, not just the whack-a-moles of cancer recently with Tim's climbing numbers. He got a reprieve as a result of the radiation treatment. And then we discovered that he wouldn't qualify for the CAR T-cell treatment because his T-cells were not viable due to the amount of chemotherapy he's received. So, but I feel like just in different experiences with my girls, I'm feeling where I'm just like my full humanity is showing up. And but what's interesting is that I feel like there's this space that's been gifted to me and that feels like grace, where I realize that I'm kind of like in this old groove and they're challenging me to be different. And I'm realizing like that to move forward, I have to be different. And so I'm really learning right now, like, what does that different look like? And how do I need to be different to keep going in the face of what our family is experiencing right now? And I'm not speaking on this like YouTube channel to say that what we're going through is any more different or hard or special than what anyone else is going through. I'm just really committed to exposing like the innermost part of myself in this process, and like the innermost part of the process of caring for someone with cancer, traveling this journey as a family, as a spouse to someone who's dealing with something like stage 3 multiple myeloma with renal failure, who's dependent on dialysis. I've always been a lifelong learner. Like, I feel very committed to learning and growing, and that's been deep in me as long as I can remember. It's interesting because a lot of the times my learning is like oh, what course should I take? What coach should I work with? What experience should I seek out? And cancer sort of like arrived, and I feel like it sought us out, it sought me out. Like, here, you want to learn and grow and stretch? Like, here, this is for you. And this is the school that you're in right now. And it's a hard school. But it's really stretching me to explore the threshold between this world and the world that's beyond this one. And I've done that a lot as a spiritual student, a student of meditation and mystical practices. But there's something about this that's different when it's like the very real person that I'm with every single day, who is in flesh and body, is, it's like questionable how long he'll remain here. And just prior to his diagnosis, I lost my dad. He had Parkinson's for 15 years, but he and my mom, just the way they navigated Parkinson's was beautiful, and it was a real gift to all of his kids and grandkids to watch him just like full on embrace Parkinson's in the highs and the lows and everything in between. He always said that it gave him the gift of listening, because he was a big talker and a teacher, and he said, Parkinson's taught me to listen. And I could feel that, like I could feel that it was very different interacting with my dad, as his voice withdrew more and more because of the disease process. But he never was a victim of Parkinson's, and I feel that in Tim too. Like, he's not a victim of cancer. If he's a victim of cancer, then there's no power in that. There's no control in that. You're completely helpless and at the mercy of everything else. And in some ways, it does feel that way at times, but it's even within that, one can find power and courage to kind of be present to the choices at hand and take those choices, find your power in making those choices. But when my dad passed from Parkinson, it wasn't Parkinson's that made him pass, but I think ultimately he had a seizure and fell on the floor, and then lost consciousness, and then left. And he had had visitations from my grandma, prior to that. He would say she's at the door, his mom was at the door. She was she was there waiting for him. And at first everyone's like, oh, you're making that up, or you're hallucinating, but he's like, oh yeah, he's getting ready. And when he passed, it was a shock. But then before he was, when he was in the ambulance, they had revived him and he was on the ride to the hospital. I hadn't heard that he passed yet, but I felt like all of a sudden I was in my daughter's room helping her pick out an outfit for the next morning. And it was a little dramatic moment for her. And my dad appeared in the doorway wearing his white tube socks and shorts and white t-shirt, and just how he looked when I was younger. And he would always just sort of come in when there was a moment of drama with my sisters and just is everything okay? He didn't even have to say it. He just stood there and kind of peeked in and smirked a little, and it was just a kind presence that kind of calmed the scene. And you knew you were probably in for a Dave Jonas lecture if you let it really get out of hand. So that was enough for us to kind of rein it in, because the Dave Jonas lectures just went on and on for a long time. We called him Preacher Dave. affectionately so. But when he passed, I was like, oh, there you are. You're here. Like, you're here closer than you were when you were in your body in Florida. And then I did learn that he passed, like, moments later. And then that night, throughout the night, I just, like, he kept coming to me. And these kind of leftover things that felt like kind of resolved, but not fully resolved, or like I wasn't sure if he fully understood me, understood like my choices at certain times. Like, he just got it, and I just felt it. I was just like, oh, he gets it. Like, we're good. He gets it. And it still was a process of like really grieving his loss and releasing him and letting him go. But I felt like that was me just like extricating like the parts of me that were attached to him, and that was painful. But yeah, so I've just been exploring that a lot, like exploring the space that people take up, exploring the space that my husband takes up in my life, in our family's life, with our girls, feeling their deep attachment, feeling their needs, their needs for him, their needs for me, feeling where I probably try to fill needs that are not really mine to fill. And then I get resentful about that. So I'm feeling that too. But I'm just trying to just keep my eyes open and my heart open to be present to all that this is teaching me. And all that cancer is teaching me about like our chemical dependency, and how the crops around us survive and thrive because we douse them with chemicals. And is that really okay? That doesn't feel okay. And there's a whole regenerative agriculture movement that's really trying to do things differently and is having a ton of success. And Tim has explored a lot of alternative treatments in the past, and it just reached a point for him where he's like, I'm all in on this because I can't keep guessing, and I don't, so this is the route he's going. His cancer was so advanced at the point of diagnosis. And I'm not even getting to like fight that, and just like, but I do watch the way it kills everything inside the body, and there's something about it that doesn't feel right to me. But I don't know, at this point, what the other options are to extend his life in this realm. So yeah. So, and I've committed since the beginning of his journey to, I'm not that person that's exploring all the options. I'm his co-pilot. I am just riding out this journey with him and trusting that the way he's traveling it is the way that he needs to travel it. It's the way that's best for him, and that frees me up to be his support team and to support our family and to not second guess or question, because that's hard. That's really like to be in that role.